Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Call Halal Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shah, Bashem Raha Kadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles, a great millstone, and peace and salutation to the hopeful elect scattered across the four winds. And double honors to the men that taught our elders and apostles. It's your brother Yakar Abin from Great Millstone, Houston, with another lesson. Just want to get into a little bit of the history of going to the Holy Scriptures because as we have been taught in I guess in Christianity, uh, the Scriptures, uh, you know, they read them for face value a lot of times, and they don't go into exactly what these things mean. So we're going to start here with Galatians chapter 3 and verse 28. It says, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Hamashiach Yahawashah. Okay, so this right here, I guess, they try to say that this means that, all people are open up to, grace with Yahweh Shah. But if you, well, basically, I mean, what is this talking about? What is this talking about? It says there is neither Jew nor Greek, there's neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, or the anointed Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah means he is uh, the deliverer, and it's, we're gonna go get it in the Hebrew because in the Greek it's Isus. Isus G2424. This says Jehovah is salvation. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. I mean, there's no J's in Hebrew, and when he walked the earth, he wasn't Greek. He was a Hebrew. He was a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah. But when you go into the origin of the word, it's Yahawashai. It's H3091, which is the same word as Joshua, but as I stated before, there are no uh, uh, J's in the Hebrew. So Joshua, his name is Yahawashai, which means he is the deliverer. But anyway, going back to the verse. So why is it saying this? It's saying neither Jew nor Greek, and we know Jew represents the southern tribes, which was Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. And it says, this is Galatians 3 and verse 29. It says, and if ye be the anointings, if ye be Christ or the anointeds, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So the promise was given to Abraham's seed, right? So ye be heirs. So if you are heirs according to the promise, then you have to be Abraham's seed, not Abraham's seed unto many, but Abraham's seed unto one, which was Isaac, right? But if you just go up here and read early in the chapter, it'll explain it. But we're going to get a little bit of the history. But this is Galatians 3 and 16. It says, now to Abraham and his seed were the promise made. He said, not as to seeds as of many, but as of one, and thy seed, which is the anointed. Okay, so this right here, we'll get that in Romans. It says, this is Romans chapter 9 and verse 6. It says, not as though the word of the Most High have taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So going back to this Galatians, it says, now to Abraham and his seed. So the promise was given to Abraham and his seed, not unto seeds as of many, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So let's get that. So this is Genesis chapter 25 and verse 1. It says, then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Okay, so Keturah, you can read this, but Keturah had 6 children by Abraham. But jumping down to verse 25, this is Genesis 25 and 5, it says, and Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward unto the east country. So Abraham had 8 sons, but the Lord said that his seed would be called in Isaac, as it states in Romans 9. So Isaac was his seed. And then when you go into the genealogy of Yahushua, it says the book of the generations of Yahushua Hamashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Well, this is another subject, but Yahushua was Solomon and he was Isaac. But, that's another lesson. So, but we're going to get back to that Galatians. It says, this is Galatians 3 and 17. It says, and this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of the Most High in Hamashiach, or the anointed, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make the promise of none effect. So you have to go back into this, because Abraham was given the promise. He was given the promise before, the law. 430 years later, that's when the Israelites were in captivity in Egypt. That's when the law came. Okay, it says, for if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of the promise, but the Most High gave it to Abraham by promise. So the Most High gave Abraham the promise. So, everything that they're talking about here in Galatians is telling you that, the promise goes to Abraham's seed. So the promise goes to Abraham's seed through Isaac. So when we jump down here to verse 23, it says, but before faith came, we were kept under the law, shut up unto faith, which should afterwards be revealed. So who was kept under the law? The Jews and the Greeks? No, the Greeks, the actual Greeks, the descendants of the Greeks, didn't have a part to do with this. They had no part to do with this. It was only the Israelites, all 12 tribes. And it says, wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto the anointed, that we might be justified by faith. But after that faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. For ye are all the children of the Most High by faith in the anointed Yahushua. For as many of you has been baptized into the anointed have put on the anointed. And it says, there's neither Jew nor Greek, neither bond nor free, there's neither male nor female, for ye are all under the anointed Yahushua. So this is only speaking to the Hebrew Israelites. But why is he calling some of them Jew and some of them Greek? Well, we have to go back into that history. We have to go back into the history of the Maccabees, which was taken out of, your regular King James Bible. It's in the 1611, but you can get it. It's in the 1611 Bible. So this is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So when you look into secular history, Alexander, uh, essentially conquered Egypt and Judea, and the Hellenization, which means the period in which the the Greeks tried to make the Hebrews, or all the world for that matter. The Greeks tried to make all of the different nations follow after their laws, and that began in around 332 BC, before the Common Era. BCE, 332 BCE. Okay, so it says, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty stronghold and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bare rule every one in his place, and after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them. After them many years and evils were multiplied in the earth. And it says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days there went out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So the Israelites, they went and tried to become like the heathen. It says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. This is the Hellenization period, where the Israelites become Hellenized. They became Greeks. It says, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. And they made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. So these Israelites that decided that they no longer wanted to keep the covenant, and they wanted to, they no longer wanted to be circumcised, and they wanted to act like these Greeks. I mean, what would we call them? I mean, what would they be called, 200, 300 years later? 300 years later, after they engaged in this activity, what would these people be called? Would they be called Israelites or Jews, or would they be called Greeks? They would be called Greeks. So we're gonna jump down. I mean, you can go back and read it for yourself. And this is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41, it says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed to the commandment of the king. So this is Hellenization as well. This is, you know, these are the Greeks, and the other nations round about them had taken on their laws and customs as well. And it says, yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messenger unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judea, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and they should profane the Sabbaths and feast and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and the holy people, to set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judea to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. And they drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could find succor. And succor, that means relief. It says, now the 15th day of the month Casleo, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the city of Judea on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of the houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And whosoever was found with any of the book of the testament, or of any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put him to death. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now the 25th day of the month they did sacrifice unto the idol altar, which is upon the altar of the Most High, and which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. And there was great wrath upon Israel. So when we go back to Galatians, and Paul is writing to the church in Galatia, let's get that 1:4. It says, Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by men, but by Yahushua Hamashiach, and the Most High, the Father, who raised him from the dead, and all the brethren which are with me, unto the churches in Galatia. So into the churches of Galatia that were G1577, and right here, the assembly of the Israelites. Online biblical usage, the assembly of the Israelites. But anyway, so Paul is writing this letter to the assembly of the Israelites in Galatia, and he's explaining, he's telling them that, where'd it go? There's neither Jew nor Greek, there's neither bond nor free, there's neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Hamashiach Yahawashah. So these Greeks right here are the individuals that were Hellenized in First Maccabees. I mean, I just read through it. I read through it, and these people were forced Hellenized, just like in today's day. You Afro Americans, you Latino Americans, you have been Americanized. You were raised in the customs of the heathen. You were raised going to the harlot house for Easter, getting you a new outfit so you can go celebrate. Picking up hiding Easter eggs. You were raised with doing Christmas. Putting a damn tree in the house and wrapping it with silver and gold and putting presents up under it. You were raised on with Halloween. You were raised with Valentine. All of these different unholy days you were raised doing, not knowing, for hundreds of years. But now you're coming to the realization of who you are, the great awakening that you are Hebrew Israelites. Okay, this was the same thing that was happening back then. This was the exact same thing that was happening back then. Paul was going and telling these people that had been Hellenized, that had became Greeks, through their customs, that, hey, no, now we have Yahushua. You can be back into the fold. You can be brought back into the fold now because Yahushua, faith in Yahushua, and that's the same thing that was going on then. It's the same thing that's going on now. There's no new thing under the sun, as in the book of Ecclesiastes. There's no new thing under the sun. So the Greeks in Galatians chapter 3 and verse 28 is speaking about Israelite foreigners, Israelites that were taking on a Greek state of mind. It's not talking about the actual Greeks. It's talking about Israelites that were steeped in becoming a Greek. With that being said, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Ruach Kadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles, the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Shalom. Kwam Yashala.